Good morning. My name is Sigrun Newell, and I am the service associate today. This morning, we welcome to our pulpit Joseph Bruchac. I first came to know of Joseph Bruchac's work through The Visitors, a delightful ensemble piece about the stories of the Adirondacks and its music. Joseph is a professional teller of the traditional tales of the Adirondacks and the native peoples of the northeastern woodlands. He has written more than 120 books for children and adults that reflect his indigenous heritage and traditions. He has performed widely in Europe and throughout the United States. Joseph Bruchac lives in the Adirondack Mountain foothills town of Greenfield Center, New York, in the same house where his maternal grandparents raised him. Much of his writing draws on that land and his Native American ancestry. Although his Northeastern American Indian heritage is only one part of an ethnic background that includes Slovak and English blood, those native roots are the ones by which he has been most nourished. Joseph is a proud Nulhegan Abenaki citizen and respected elder among his people. We are indeed fortunate to have him with us today. We begin our service by ringing a bell to bring us together.
We give greetings to all things around us, to the wind whose breath is shared by all living beings, to the earth mother that is beneath our feet wherever we walk, to the sky above us who has within it the light of the sun in the day and the moon at night to remind us we are never alone. We give greetings and we give thanks to all of creation, for there are so many blessings that come to us, those of us who are in this great circle of life. Without those blessings, we could not continue. The water that we drink, we thank it each morning. We say, Olioni Nabi. The air that we breathe, we say to it as well, Olioni Wolomsin, wind which fills my breath and also those of all living things around us. We who are human beings are small in the eye of the great Creator. Those who are part of that circle, those we know, those who are our relatives, those who are our friends, those we have not met, those of all colors, all languages, all ages. We are all together in one great circle. If we forget that circle, if that circle becomes broken, we become lost. And so I ask us all to join together our breath and our thoughts for each new day. For this day in particular, we come together in greeting and in thanks.
Our prelude this morning is Somos el Barco by Lori Wyatt. Our musician is Alyssa Yeager. Please join in the chalice lighting words shown on the screen. Welcoming all free seekers of truth and meaning, we gather to excite the human spirit, to inspire its growth and development, to respond morally and ethically to a troubled world, and to sustain a vital and nurturing religious community. Next, we'll sing a unison song. The words will appear on the screen. Please join in singing This Little Light of Mine. Song leader will be Alyssa Yeager.
La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. My brothers and my sisters, I'm gonna help them shine. My brothers and my sisters, I'm gonna help them shine. My brothers and my sisters, I'm gonna help them shine, help them shine, help them shine, help them shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
This is the time set aside in our service for sharing significant milestones in our lives. If we were in Community Hall, you would be invited to come forward to move a stone. If you would like to share your joy or sorrow with us, there are still several ways you can do that. These can be shared at any time on our website. Start again. This is the time set aside in our service for sharing significant personal milestones in our lives. If we were in Community Hall, you would be invited to come forward to move a stone. If you would like to share your joy or sorrow with us, there are still several ways you can do that. These can be shared at any time on our website. We'll read first those that have been submitted over the past week.
We don't have any joys or sorrows that were mailed to us during the week.
Okay. You can at this time type your joy or sorrow in the chat window. Please put the words "read aloud" at the beginning of your message if you would like us to do that. The Pastoral Care Associate on duty today, Chuck Manning, will in a few minutes read the items submitted in the chat. You can instead connect privately in the chat with a Pastoral Care Associate. Look for them in the participant window with PCA before their name. Or another option is to click the blue raise hand symbol in the participant window. Our technician will unmute you and invite you to share your joy or sorrow.
We start with Zach O'Farrell. Zach, you can unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I have a joy today. I'm just really happy to be here. I was in a car accident on Wednesday, but thankfully I was okay, unharmed. So I'm just feeling very joyful and grateful about that.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
I just wanted to welcome somebody. I didn't realize that I just noticed their name in the chat, and that was we have visiting from Romania with us a minister of our partner church in Romania, Tunde Zaz, and just wanted to welcome her. I would have done that in the welcoming part, but I didn't notice it until just a minute ago. So just want to welcome her into our service.
Say her name, for Christ's sake.
Okay, I have a couple here from Esther to Neil to everyone. I'm very grateful to be fine, thanks to airbags and a seatbelt after a car accident Wednesday evening where my car was totaled. I'm not sure which one of them that's from, but glad to hear that they're okay. From Chris Bystroff, I want to place a small speckled stone in the bowl, no smaller than that, more speckled. Perfect. Oh, okay, he already did that. Okay, from the Stanfest, my sister is having surgery today for tumors of the large intestine, so please keep her in your thoughts. From Paula Brewer, we celebrated my mom's 90th birthday last week, virtually with my siblings and her grandchildren.
All right, we have one more from Jackie Williams.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Jackie.
Hey, thank you. I'm sorry, my video's not on, so you can't see me, but you can hear me. I just wanted to, I guess, share and request that my blood glucose went about down into the basement and then it shot back up into the attic on Friday. It did cause me to call my doctor's office just to check in and to discuss what I should do. I would be very grateful if anyone else who has a diagnosis of diabetes would be willing to chat with me or discuss it some other time. This is fairly new for me, and I don't understand how my body can go through all of these changes in one day. So I'm feeling much, much better today, but I am concerned about the rapid changes. Thank you.
For the joys and sorrows that remain unspoken, let us hold all that we have heard and felt in our hearts. Our guest today will now do a spoken meditation followed by a silent meditation.
Long ago, we are told, the first beings were made of stone and their feet were heavy upon this earth, crushing everything beneath them. And so our people, our Abenaki people, were then made from the ash trees, rooted in the earth. And when we walk on this land, we walk carefully, trying not to crush anything beneath our feet. I ask that we put in our minds that thought of how we walk upon this earth. Let us meditate upon the result of our footsteps. Are things crushed by our passing, or do we walk carefully and slowly so that nothing is left disturbed, so that we pass through this life like a fish through the water, leaving only brief ripples behind and nothing disturbed, so that we remain in the kind of balance the Creator meant us to always remain within. Keep this in your mind, that idea of walking softly upon this earth. As our women say, when we dance upon this earth, our feet are caressing our mother. Let us try to make our steps through this life as lightly as those of a thank you dance. Long ago, it is said, our people had forgotten the right way to live. Many people knew many things. For example, some were good at making medicine, but they kept that to themselves. They shared it with no one else. Some were good at hunting, and indeed they could bring back game animals for food, but did they share it with the others in their community? No, again, they simply kept it for themselves. Now, some were good at building such things as canoes, wigwao, which could float down the rivers as lightly as a feather. But did they share those canoes with the others within their community? Onda, no. Again, they kept that knowledge to themselves. As a result, although people had those things they held on to jealously and tightly, everyone was suffering because although there was so much, it was divided among the people and not shared. Now it is said that long ago, when the great mystery first made the first being on this earth, that being whose name was Groskomba, was made from the dust that sprinkled from the hands of the great mystery. And Groskomba shaped himself from that dust and then began to walk about. And as Groskomba walked about, he observed the beauty of the world. He learned many things, and it became his job to help the human beings to live a good life and often to share his knowledge with them. Now, Groskomba saw how the people in their selfishness were suffering. He realized he would have to do something. And so what he did was this. He made the first drum, a wooden hoop covered with the skin of a deer. And when that drum was struck, it made a sound that everyone recognized, for it was the first music that we all hear, the heartbeat. For we hear the heartbeat of our mothers before we hear anything else, even before we've breathed the air or opened our eyes to the light. We are not yet born. We hear our mother's heartbeat. He began to play that drum as he walked in the village. And the people inside their lodges, jealously guarding those things they had, heard that sound of the drum. They said, "What is that beautiful sound?" They walked out of their lodges, and there they saw Groskomba playing on that drum. And as he played, he began to sing. We got money, 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 we got money. He sang that song. The people could not stop from moving their feet. They began to dance. They began to sing along in that simple but beautiful song. We got money, 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 we got money. And as they danced, they found themselves forming a circle. They reached out their hands to either side, took the hands of the others in that circle, and together they danced and sang. We got money, 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 we got money. When Groskomba stopped playing that drum, the singing stopped. Everyone in that circle was looking around at each other and smiling. And Groskomba said, "You see how it is when we shared that song and that dance together, how good it made our hearts feel. It will feel even better if we share all the things we have and make this circle again strong." And so it is ever since that day that we have the gift of the drum and the songs that we sing together. Like that one, We Gai Wane, whose simple meaning in the Abenaki language is, this is fun. And indeed, to sing together, to dance together, to share together, what could be more enjoyable in life than that?
An important way we celebrate life each Sunday is by offering an opportunity to practice generosity. Members and friends support our congregation with an annual pledge paid throughout the year. Another way to support the good work of this congregation is by making a generous donation via one of the options shown on the upcoming slide. You can click on the tiny URL link in the chat window to donate, or you can send a text to the number shown on the screen, 844-976-2618. Below that, the examples on the slide show how to label your text to indicate the amount and purpose of the intent of your gift. For example, if you want to send something to the collection plate, text the number and the word offering. To send money to your pledge, text the amount you want to send and the word pledge. The offertory music this morning will be a song, El Muro, which was composed by our musician, Alyssa Yeager. El Muro means the wall.
We as human beings are not alone. That is one of the great messages that have been given me by my elders throughout. That we are part of a great circle of spirit and life. That many things connect us to each other. When I was looking at that video earlier of the water flowing down the stream, log across the water, it reminded me of a teaching that was given many years ago by a Cherokee medicine person. The teaching was this: in the early morning, go to the water. Go to the water and feel the flow of that water, like the flow of the Spirit, always heading to the great ocean where all of us are connected. And to see where you are at this point in your life, cross halfway across that water and then stop, perhaps on a log, perhaps on a bridge. Close your eyes and feel what direction you're drawn. Would it be upstream or down? Upstream, there is much more for us to do. Down, we must flow with each other toward the sea, but always remember that river of life and spirit is flowing, and we are part of that spirit, part of that life. I was told many years ago that we always must give thanks. For when we give thanks, we are heard, if only in our own hearts by ourselves. For thank you is one of the most beautiful things, one of the most beautiful phrases or words in any language. If you give thanks, you are making it clear that you appreciate those gifts of life and spirit that have been given to you. If you give thanks, it always gives back to you often more than you realize. We are part of more then we realize this is always true. If we look around, we see in a circle each other's faces. Often we forget that we are part of a circle, that spirit that goes around in that circle. If we look around in a circle, we see each other's faces. But if we turn away, we cannot see them. Or if we think of ourselves as being in rows, straight lines, with only one person up front and everyone else turned to look at them, but also everyone having their back to each other. We must look into each other's faces. We must see the spirit that is there. When we were created, we were told by our Creator, always remember one thing, to give thanks and to be thankful. Because we forgot that, teachers were sent to us, and those teachers have always been there to remind us of the things we need to know. They give us ceremonies, they give us rituals, they give us stories, they give us many things to help us remember that we must always share that spirit, when we hold it too tightly, it does not go out like the petals of a flower being opened, so that others can experience that beauty and smell the sweetness like the flowers we smell as we walk around this summer, the gift of creation of the flowers. We, again, have certain things that we must remember. I was told by a very wise Mohegan elder named Harold Tantaquidgeon many, many years ago, more than I realize now that I think of it, more than 40 years ago. He said, there are 4 things we must always do. Keep these 4 things in mind. The first, we have 2 ears and only 1 mouth. We must listen twice as much as we talk, for listening connects us to the wisdom that we may otherwise not hear. We must use our 2 eyes. For with 2 eyes, we can see the depth of things, and we can see the direction we are heading and look back and see where we've been, see all around us. But if we keep our mouths open, it's as if our eyes are closed. Those 2 eyes can also be used to see within as well as outside us. I was told by a Lakota elder many years ago that the best way to see is through the eye of the heart. When we see through the eye of the heart, we see more clearly. The third thing that Harold Tantaquidgeon told me was this: we must always remember, hold on to those teachings we've been given. Hold on to that good that is coming to us always from the world around us. As we hold on to it in our memory, we are prepared not just to hold it tightly for ourselves, but to do the 4th step, which is to share. For when we share, we have completed that circle, and in that circle, when you share, someone else will listen, someone else will observe, and they too will remember, and they will share. That circle, by the way, is the circle of our life journey. We begin as a child, opening our eyes to the beauty of life and spirit all around us, to the way it shines, vibrates in everything. When I drove down this morning, my neighbor was ahead of me in his car, and he suddenly stopped, and I stopped, for in front of him walked a mother deer and her fawn. And I stuck my hand out the window with a big thumbs up, and he stuck his hand out the window with a big thumbs up, both of it acknowledging that gift of spirit that morning had given us, so that we, as human beings, together shared that moment. So it is very important for us to always see the gifts of spirit and life that are around us everywhere. Chad Smith, who was the head chief of the Cherokee Nation a decade or so ago, told me that the Cherokee people suffered one terrible tragedy after another. And this has been true of many of our native nations. We have had many things happen, taking our land and our lives away from us. And yet, he said, we have always managed to survive. And we have survived through sharing life, sharing spirit. And then, not just survived, but thrived. And so it is, I think, in this difficult time, when we sometimes hear people saying that we are not all related, We hear people saying that they are bad, we are good. We cannot live that way. We have to recognize that all of us are balanced in life. In fact, among the Haudenosaunee, the Cherokee people, the Iroquois people, the people of many different languages and lives and lands, Navajo, Dene, others, they always say this one thing about health. And that's important to remember in this time we're in as well. That if you are healthy, you are in balance. That a loss of health is a loss of balance. That when we restore the proper balance and do not see ourselves as better than others, but as a part of others, we recognize that spirit, that mysterious spirit that flows in all things, flows in us and through us and from us, then that health, that balance may be restored. And so this morning, I close with this thought for you. Find that balance. Think not of yourself, but of others, and see glowing all around you the Spirit in all living things.
Together now, we will sing a unison song, one that's very familiar to all of us. This Land is Your Land by Woody Guthrie. Again, Alyssa will lead us in song. As we extinguish the chalice, please join in reading the words shown on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
As we leave this place, I ask that we remember to walk on this land carefully and with kindness. As we look around, I ask that we see the light of the Creator in the eyes of everyone we meet, and we do not turn our gaze away from them. As we continue on our journey, I pray that we, all of us, may always keep our hands open. And though we may not right now join each other's hands physically, we may join them in spirit and in kindness. And we may, as we continue to walk on the gift of this beautiful earth, remain in balance and help others to find their balance with us. Oleoni Katsino ask, thank you, great Creator, Om Giskak, for this day that we share together. And may we continue to share beyond this.
This morning we give our thanks to the musician, Alyssa Yeager, to ushers, Kristen Abbas, Dawn Dana, Dick Dana, and Kathy Harris, to the pastoral care associate, Chuck Manning, and to our welcomer, Barb Manning. I think we have only one announcement this morning. In these muggy summer days, look forward to crisp fall weather and gorgeous foliage at the UU weekend at Silver Bay on Lake George, October 16th to 18th. The weekend committee and the staff at Silver Bay are working hard to make sure everyone will be safe and have fun. Many planned workshops and events are being moved to larger spaces so social distancing can be practiced. Kids will have lots of space to run outdoors, and there will be fun indoor activities. Read more details in Windows Weekly and sign up soon.